I feel like Mike Jordan. Give me the rock and I'm scoring. Hey, came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Yeah, they know that we ain't the same. 402, we rap the game. I told them this ain't a game.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Big League Chicago, because the biggest news of this offseason has happened. The Bears have added a legit number one wide receiver, DJ Moore, and they get an extra 2 picks this year, some more picks next year, some more picks the following year. Eric, Jose, bro, this trade is ridiculous.
Let's go. Let's go.
I love it.
Guys, I can't believe what just happened. Can we? Yes, Rick, crack one.
Let's go.
Ryan Poles, a toast to Ryan Poles. Finally, we can say we have a legit number one wide receiver here in Chicago, everybody. What's going on? Yes.
Yeah, definitely. But first things first, guys. First things first. Before we say anything, a round of applause for our boy, Lovie Smith. A round of applause.
Yes.
Right here without him.
Let's just hit the wrong button. I forgot. Oh, here it is. Yeah, there it is. Sound effects in the building, y'all.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, no, round of applause. Lovie Smith, thank you very much. We are going to build a statue on the north end of Soldier Field or in Arlington Heights. We are just, thank you very much. We're going to have that glorious beard on there. That's going to be the only thing that's going to be colored in gray. The statue's going to be made in gold. Lovey, thank you very much. I appreciate you for this.
Bro, it's insane what that Week 18 game meant to Bears and Bears fans, because look what happens, right? Like, you go from number 2 or 3 to number 1. You come to this day and you get picks and a legit wide receiver. Poles is in his bag right now. Let's just go over what the haul was. He traded the number 1 overall draft pick to the Carolina Panthers for the number 9 pick, the number 61 pick, which is a late second round, and we have like the 39th, 38th pick on top of that in the second round. So we have 2 second round picks. The 2024 first round pick. We got a first round pick and DJ Moore. That's fucking ridiculous. And then a 2025 second rounder. And obviously the biggest prize of the trade was DJ Moore. We got a number 1 wide receiver. I don't know what to say, man, because you add DJ Moore with Mooney and with Claypool. We have Jones Jr. and ESB under contract. You add Cole Kmet. Khalil Herbert is running back for now. This offense is looking so much better, even with just this addition. But let's kind of, I don't know. I don't know what to do because I'm feeling like CP right now. Wow.
CP.
Just wow, dude.
Wow.
So I don't know. Who wants to start? Who wants to start? How they feel?
I'll start. Look, guys, this was amazing news. Amazing news to hear. We have a legit wide receiver that, as Rick just mentioned, that we can pair up with the guys like Claypool, like Mooney, like Kmet. Justin Fields is going to go crazy next year. Wouldn't be surprised if he has a breakout year next year.
Not at all.
I would not be surprised if this man goes off. You know what I love though is we traded within the top 10, so we're still in the top 10 of this draft. Number 9 overall. We can either keep that pick, try to go for somewhere high, or we can even trade back if we wanted to, guys. Even with that number 9th pick. So shout out to Carolina, man. There was a quarterback that they've seen that they just had to have, because not only giving up DJ Moore, your number 1, but then also a first round pick next year. Yeah, they definitely saw somebody they liked for sure.
Eric, how you feeling, man? I know we're all excited, but I want your thoughts. I want your thoughts on this.
Dude, I mean, there's no reason but to be excited. I mean, if there's one downfall, right? Let me be this guy for just
do that.
Boo.
Get him out of here.
Let me get it. I have one.
Oh no! What is it? What is it?
I might do have one. Hold on. I don't know. I don't know this though, real quick, but yes, we got a first round pick. Yes, we traded back. Yes, we got a number 1 wide receiver. Yes, we got another second round pick. Yes, we have another first round pick for next year and the second round for the year after that. It's if there's just one bad thing, and I feel like even though I know he probably might move up in the draft for this one, but if he doesn't, that gap between 9 and the next pick that the Bears have, which is going to be the 50-some-odd pick, there's still a good substantial gap between picks as of right now. Right?
Facts.
He couldn't get another second-round pick as sooner as where they're picking right now is kind of like, okay. But again, he got another second-round pick. They're picking from right now, from what I can see, is like the 22nd pick and the 30th pick in the second round, which is like 50-something and 60-something along the way, right?
Yeah.
They got the if we go in order, they have the first pick in the third round, and then there's another gap between the next time that they pick between the third and the fourth. But again, it looks good on paper. We got a number 1 wide receiver on top of this. We move back in the draft. We got some draft capital for this year and next year and the year after that, albeit being in the second round. Yes, I'm happy because now you give Justin Fields a legitimate weapon and the number 1 wide receiver spot. Right? It brings everybody down to where they belong. Claypool number 2, Mooney number 3. Switch them however you want to switch them, however you want to rank them. But now Justin Fields has a legitimate shot, and now we have to wait and see what Ryan Poles is going to do for free agency starting on Monday, I believe. When the tampering period starts. Whether if he's going defense, he's getting his 3 technique on the defensive line, or he's getting 2 offensive linemen and call it a day and then build between the draft. Like Ryan Poles, we said it throughout the whole offseason, and as offseason continued, the Bears control the draft, and you can see why they control the draft. Or the offseason, should I say. I'm sorry. Control the offseason.
And you're talking about the picks, too, because like you said, they moved to number 9. What are they going to do with the pick? Because there is still some options, right? Like Will Anderson, long gone by that time. It's just a foregone conclusion, whatever it is, right? But who can they realistically get at number 9? The few names that I'm looking at, Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle, one of the guys that is one of the top linemen in the draft, so that's a possibility. You've got, if they want to go offense, maybe add to the wide receiver room, Jackson Smith and Jigba. They can add him, another Ohio State guy, right? So add a wide receiver. Or do they take a chance on a guy like Tyree Wilson, who's an edge, who is someone that they were expected to get? It's not a Will Anderson, may not be a Jalen Carter, but they can take a shot on him from Texas Tech. Yes, Eric, in the front.
If, now that the Bears are drafting outside of the top 5, top 4, right? And given the news about Jalen Carter, and if Jalen Carter is still at number 9, would you still take a chance on Jalen Carter, him being the number 1 prospect in this draft at number 9 if he's available at that pick?
And that's exactly what I was just about to get to, because that was like the other news is like Jalen Carter, all the stuff off the field has brought him down a little bit, and it is still a realistic opportunity or scenario that he's there for the Bears at number 9. Would I still take the shot on him? I don't see why not, to be honest. What happened off the field obviously is kind of an issue and may or may not be an issue in the future, but I would still take him for the defense to get the defense a little bit that much better, right? But man, it would be I would love to add to the offense to protect Fields, and that's the case in Paris Johnson for Paris Johnson, right? Is why not add an offensive tackle, another lineman to make this line even better from last year? They might, use the free agency to do that as well, but get a younger guy, right? Like get one of the top linemen. You see what oh my God, what's the guy's name from the Lions that they grabbed a couple of years ago? Panea,
something like that. I know who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking about.
He's worked out really well for the Lions, and he was one of the top linemen in that draft. So why not get a lineman if you can in this draft? Eric brought up the question. Jalen Carter, if he's still there at number 9, do you take the shot on him? with all the off-field issue stuff.
100%. Look, if you got to do your due diligence, if you know he's not going to get arrested for anything of that sort that has to do with that investigation, 100%, the talent is there. You know, I think something like this will scare him to getting, you know, just being a lot more careful next time in anything that he does, right? But yeah, 100%. If he's there, you're legit getting a top 3 pick, what should be a top 3 pick at the 9th spot. Oof. You still think about that, guys. You still get the player that you had your eye on, right? Despite all this character issues, talent wise, you still get the player you had your eye on, plus a number 1 wide receiver, plus another first round pick next year, and everything else that you got. That's a win. That's a dub. I take it. And the number, come on, don't stop.
It's projected this next year's first round picks projected a top 10. I don't want to like guarantee anything. I don't want to be that, you know, because we're Bears fans. We don't guarantee anything. Right. But can you imagine if next year's pick is not only a top 10, but maybe like a top 5 or 6? Could you imagine that? That's ridiculous. Like you just add more pieces to this puzzle that is becoming like 100%. A very good Bears team. At least the first one that I've seen in a really, really long time.
Yeah, because that Panthers pick next year, they're not guaranteed with whatever quarterback they pick. They're not guaranteed to be a good team. I mean, they just lost a number 1 wide receiver. They just lost their big time running back this past season, and Christian McCaffrey. They're in full rebuild. As far as I can see, they're in full on rebuild.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you're right. That could be a high pick.
I'm gonna go on here and say, comadre, are you being a hater, or if we could do better than DJ Moore? Yes and no. I feel I know where she's coming from with this about DJ Moore, right? Obviously, he's been the number 1 wide receiver in Carolina because, well, let's be honest, he's the only wide receiver in Carolina at this point. But he's not the blow off the top type of wide receiver that you think. And maybe this is just a prisoner at the moment simply because like we see him in highlight reels and in fantasy football aspects, right? And like how he produces what he can produce, right? And we hardly seen any Carolina Panthers football like at all since he's been there in the last 3 seasons. He's been in the league for like
he's been in the league for 5 years.
5 years, but he's only like 26, 27. So he's there. He's good. He's still a very young age at this point, right? And I get it. There's other better wide receivers in out there in the NFL. But I think the only reason why DJ Moore fits into the system is because of that age, is because of what he produced in what was a sort of kind of bad, okay, middle of the road Carolina Panthers team at one point, and he was still the number 1 guy. So yes, I get where the commander's coming from. I get where Paulina's coming from, saying like we could have done better than DJ Moore. But I rebuttal to it. I was like, what else is out there? I get it. It's DeAndre Hopkins and his issues with Arizona Cardinals. But he's on the opposite side of 30. Granted, everybody would love DeAndre Hopkins, right? But would you get more out of DJ Moore in the longevity-wise because of the age group or his age than you would, I don't know, like I said, DeAndre Hopkins? Again, it's a great pick. I get where Paulina's coming from. Like, it's not being a hater. It's kind of more being realistic.
Yeah.
Like, can we do better than DJ Moore? Of course, we could have done better than DJ Moore. But again, what else is out there besides DJ Moore?
Well, you know, I honestly, there's better wide receivers that you can get than DJ Moore out there for 100%. Sure.
Yeah.
I just think this package alone is what threw the Bears. Okay, like, you know, we got to do it. You know, that first round pick next year definitely sweetens the deal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And then you get a legitimate experience wide receiver who's going to come automatically and be your number 1 wide receiver here.
Yep.
And we see how Darnell Mooney reacts when he has a better player, or at least another wide receiver, you know, who could take some pressure off of him. And if Claypool can work on some things, come back, again, that's pressure off of him as well. I mean, you know, we may have something here, guys, for sure.
No, and you're right. We do have something here. And again, with DJ Moore, you kind of put everybody in their spot, in their position, right? As Darnell Mooney at number 2 or 3, and Claypool at 2 or 3, depending on where you guys want to rank them. Again, Bears quintessentially got 3 first-round draft picks within this trade.
Yeah.
Right. DJ Moore could be counted as one because he was one. Right.
He's a first rounder, number 24th overall.
Right. I mean, the trade, the pick for this year's first round was obviously already in the picture. Right. But you got one for next year on top of that too as well. So and like you said, Rick, earlier, it could possibly be a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
Let alone, let's say the Bears are probably in the outskirts. Same thing. Let's put, what's another team that has 2 picks this year? The Seattle Seahawks.
Lions, I think too.
Like one in the top 10 and one outside of the top 10. Like they put
both
themselves in that perfect situation for the Bears to build something or to have something for this year. Yeah. And that's the exciting part. That's legit the exciting part about this trade.
And I was gonna say, it was for DJ Moore. We've got him for another 3 years. Like, he signed his extension with Carolina. He's through the 2025 season. It's a $55 million contract, maybe less, for 3 more years of control. The Bears have cap up the ass, man. Like, they can pay this no problem, right?
Right.
And this is a guy like we were talking about, 5 years in the league, 5,200 career receiving yards, 21 touchdowns, 2018 All-Rookie team, 7 touchdowns last season, which was his most. And last season, with his most touchdown catches he's ever had, he was doing it with Baker Mayfield, with PJ Walker, with Sam Darnold. Like, these aren't quarterbacks that, are franchise quarterbacks. Imagine what he can do with Fields in an entire offseason with great complementary pieces. If you add another O-lineman and the entire O-line is healthy and was doing as well as they were last year, per PFF, man, like, our line was pretty good. Like, we had that argument, right? Or we were talking about that, or were you guys were talking about it on JCA. I was in the comments. But we had a pretty solid line. And again, you have another offseason with all these guys, and you add DJ Moore in the mix. The offense is going to, in my opinion, it's going to explode, and DJ Moore is just going to add to it. It's going to be great. And on top of it all, Aaron Rodgers is probably going to the Jets, bro. Like, I think we might have this division in the bag. Like, let's go.
Let's not forget either. DJ Moore, regardless of what he's going to do, great. He's going to put up numbers here in Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm.
What this also does for this offense is this legitimize our wide receiver, our passing game in a way. There's other teams that are going to come in. They're going to have to put some respect on the passing game, meaning our running game is just going to get even better than last year, guys. Think about it. When you have the other team literally focusing in on these 3 wide receivers that we have, Justin Fields is going to go off for another, I don't know how many yards this year, man. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to run, and this team is going to be dangerous.
He's just going to improve from here on out.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got to be that way.
100%, and even if you do trust Khalil Herbert as your number 1 running back, simply because a couple weeks ago we seen the report that David Montgomery won't come back as a Chicago Bear.
Yep.
Maybe that might change Brian Pohl's mind. I'm like, okay, let's give him a deal. Let's see if we get him a team friendly deal, right? Because David Montgomery, he's not your electric running back, right? He's your one cut bruiser running back, but he can sustain all 3 downs. He's a 3-down back.
Yeah.
But they might build that one to the draft. And I think Khalil Herbert, outside of his injury, he filled in that role perfectly, and he does fill that role perfectly. So maybe not. You're right. It's going to open up the running game so much more, not only for, like Jose said, for Justin Fields, but also for Justin Herbert, and maybe we'll see what we get off of Ebner, and maybe he might draft one this year too as well.
Yeah,
with the extra picks that he get in the 3rd, 4th round, right? So it's and I seen in the comments, I think CP was the one who said we have to focus on the offensive line. I think he said something along those lines.
He said O-line is the main mission
now.
Yep.
Man, Claypool is way better as a number 2, and Mooney will be an amazing number 3. I believe I believe in Komet. Still, Herbert showed signs that he can be a number 1, though we still need to add someone behind him, which is 100% true. And you're right. And now I don't think it's just offensive line. I think now it's in the trenches. It's both lines that you have to focus on, and where your priority is going to be this offseason. Look, Orlando Brown just came off. He's a free agent now, right? Glynchy's not a free agent. There's some decent offensive linemen that has names, that have some good careers so far in the NFL to help you build this offensive line. Technically, you kind of need two offensive linemen this year to come and help you. and that's already like what 30, 40%, 60% of your offensive line, depending on the talent that you get.
Yeah,
and like you said, Rick, in an offensive line that ranked middle of the whole entire NFL, and we see it differently ourselves, right? But granted, that's still saying something, and if you can improve that, all you need is just solid defensive line, and everything could be not fixed, but definitely you'll have the drywall up in the house for your foundation.
Yeah, the bones,
the studs, and everything else with after this year.
I love that take because, like you said, even with the line, like this to me, the addition of DJ Moore is similar to like Dexter Fowler coming back in the 2016 season for the Cubs and being like, wow, this may have been the piece that we needed in that sense, right? Like maybe we needed a leadoff. We got our leadoff back. He did well the season before. We needed a number one. We got a number one here for the Bears. The line needs to be healthy, and like you said, if we can get a McGlinchey, if we can get an Orlando Brown, if we can even get somebody through the draft, Tevin Jenkins, Braxton Jones, what's his name? The other guy. Oh, my God.
Patrick, who's also under contract for 1 more year.
Lucas Patrick at center, and you have the other guy, Larry Borum Jr. On the other side. He was actually pretty good as far as like PFF ranks him. But him, Tevin Jenkins, and Jones were probably the 3 best linemen we had. And then we had just like injuries, and we had people circling in and out. Like this line, as long as they can stay healthy and can just continue to improve upon last year, if not be just as good. Again, it's just it's a no-lose situation right now for the Bears. The only thing that can go wrong is like injuries. That's really the only thing that can go wrong, right? Like, or Getsy just completely shits the bed on the offense, and then the defense is an absolute joke like they were last year. But I don't know, man. It just I've never been this excited. I don't think I've been this excited since the Khalil Mack trade. I don't think I've been this excited for the Bears.
I was going to say, I'm so excited, I'm going to ignore Ginger's look, cans of corn, I'll take that as a compliment today, Ginger. Don't you worry. I'll be a can of corn all day long. I don't care. The Bears just traded number 1 pick. You have a number 1 wide receiver.
Cans of corn.
Me one bit.
Oh, my God.
Can of corn.
Can of corn. That's all I need. Can of corn.
CP goes ahead and say he still had an okay year with his horrible QB situation. He's explosive. Regardless, you're not going to chase Nijah Hopkins.
No,
absolutely not.
And absolutely not. That's what I'm saying. Like that was right there. That was right there. What you're dealing with. You get a guy and is still on the opposite side of 30, right? Compared to the Devontae Adams who's in his 30s, DeAndre Hopkins who's in his 30s, and everybody else. Hell, I even seen what's his name, Nicole Hartman, saying like, hey, let's link up again like we did in Ohio State, bro. Just Justin Fields, which can also be another potential signing for the Chicago Bears too, as well, to help open up. There's nothing wrong with weapons. Obviously, you see in Kansas City, bunch of Kadarius Toney, Juju Smith-Schuster, who we signed again. Obviously, you have Travis Kelce that help you along those lines too as well. But just kind of those players, Harmon as well too as well, that could just help you spread it out because everybody could just be deadly and could be formidable to make a catch at that time. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, okay, let's see what else we can build. I honestly feel like the Bears will probably build more the offensive side of the ball during the free agency, and then everything else on defense will probably be coming out of the draft along with a few offensive players.
Like you said too, like the offense is clearly what's winning in the NFL. Look what happened in the Super Bowl. The Phillies defense got absolutely annihilated. The Chiefs never had a good defense. They had maybe a middle-of-the-pack defense. They got 35 points put on them. You know what I mean? Offense is winning championships. It's no longer the defense. Like, that is out the door.
Well, I mean, if you had Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, it's kind of an outlier at that point.
But also, like Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, like those guys came up, right? And they got A.J. Brown before last season in the offseason. And look what they were able to do. I just think and you also look at Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, like they have a pretty solid defense. But, I mean, the offense is really what's getting them there, right? I think of the 4 teams that made it to the conference championships, 3 of them were offensive-minded coaches, and that's kind of the bad side of it. The Bills is the only one who was a defensive-minded coach, and we've seen what the Bills have done. You know what I mean? Like, it's been pretty sad. So I don't know, man. I think the offense is what they need to focus on. I think, again, with the addition of DJ Moore, it's going to make everyone better. Like you said, Eric, it's going to take everybody down to their actual slot, number 2 for Claypool or number 3, as well as Mooney. But they need to add I don't know about the running back. Khalil Herbert, I like. I just don't know. I think they might need to add someone else there at running back. We'll see. But definitely the offensive line is something that I think they need to add to just in case it gets there's injuries or it gets worse.
No, definitely. You need the depth. You need the depth in every position that you possibly can, especially on the lines on both sides, on defense and offense, right? Like you need to build that depth. And even in the special positions in the categories, your wide receivers, your cornerbacks, hell, even a running back. Even though they say running backs are dime a dozen, just like the wide receivers. There's nothing wrong with having a solid running back, a la Kenneth Walker, who came out of the 3rd round. It is a perfect example. Hell, we got David Montgomery in the 4th round a couple years back, and look what he provided for us too as well. And I think I like CP's point right here, right? And CP says, I think the key is in all sports, NFL is all about offense, scoring touchdowns. NBA is all about scoring rather than playing defense. MLB is all about hitting home runs down. Sports changing on, and he's absolutely right. And to your point, Rick, that you're right. You have to outscore. Obviously, that's the point of every sport. You have to outscore your opponents. But don't forget, guys, it's also you gotta have a solid defense. And to your point, Rick, you're right. The Eagles came into the Super Bowl as the number 1 defense, or ranked as in the top 3 defenses in all NFL. And the Chiefs just did their job simply because of game plan. Again, outlier. You have Patrick Mahomes on the other side. Anything is possible. It doesn't matter if you have the number 1 or the worst ranked defense in the Super Bowl. You're still gonna get toasted by Patrick Mahomes because he's just that damn special. That's the key in the NFL. If you have that quarterback, it doesn't matter what ranked defense you are in. You are going to have a tough time with a great quarterback.
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
All right.
I mean, this is just again we're just all excited.
Oh yeah.
And I think.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I feel like even if we had multiple picks, I think we're just even more excited that DJ Moore is a Bear. That Justin Fields finally has the number 1 wide receiver.
That's the biggest excitement for me is DJ Moore.
And now we're going to get to see Justin Fields expand that area of the game that he kind of struggled in because of the lack of talent that he had around this team last season. So now we are going to see whether or not this season is crucial for Justin Fields to expand that part of the game, to see if he's going to be the future franchise quarterback for the Chicago Bears for years to come. Because now everything is set up for him to succeed.
Yes.
And now we're all excited. Now here's the questions for you guys that I'm gonna give to you guys about the Chicago Bears now. As you guys are watching, listening to Big League Chicago here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch under the Star 6 Media app or platforms. What would be a successful season for Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears this year after a 3-win performance last season?
Playoffs.
Yeah, it has to be playoffs.
I think playoffs.
And you know what? With everything that the Bears have going for them this offseason, we should expect it. We have the quarterback. We have the one position that's probably the most important. That is the most important, but the toughest to definitely, get a legit quarterback. Now that we have that, all you have to do is surround him offensively. Defensively, we're going to struggle a bit. Even with these newer guys coming in, they're going to be rookies. We've had some guys coming back from injuries. We're not going to be. I'm not going to say we're not going to be top 10 defensively. We'll be middle of the pack.
No.
Right, but
we'll probably be bottom of the pack, to be honest.
Might even bottom, exactly. Yeah. Even with that, offensively, if we could score points similar to the Detroit Lions did last season, anything can happen. And to me, that's a successful season because I just want to see progress. I want to see Fields coming into his own. The Lions were really close last season, getting into the playoffs. I think the Bears have a better shot. This is this is everyone's like second year under Matt Eberflus coming in, so like everyone should be put in place and ready to go. But that's just me.
Yeah, that's my thinking exactly. Like you look at the Detroit Lions from 2 years ago, and you would have not expected them to, Amon-Ra St. Brown was able to emerge. Jared Goff was able to actually play very well at quarterback for them. You would have never expected them to do as well as they did. Obviously, the draft worked really well for them. It's Pennell. God, I forget his name. Anyway, the lineman that they drafted, they got Aiden Hutchinson. Like they were able to build through the draft. They got a couple guys in trades. Like this is exactly what the Bears are doing. This is exactly what the Lions did. That the Bears are in it right now. They got a number one wide receiver. Running backs are honestly a dime a dozen nowadays. So you don't necessarily need to get one in the first or second round. Look at what David Montgomery did, like you said, fourth round. Yep. But for me, honestly, like it has to be playoffs, and I don't even care if it's a week 18. We need the Packers, or we need the Commanders to lose in order for us to get in. If we can at least get a wild card next year, regardless of the situation or how we got there, that's what I expect with what's going on with how Justin Fields emerged last year. An entire offseason with Claypool, Mooney, all these guys. And now DJ Moore. Getsy has another year with these guys, another offseason, another preseason with these guys to really pin down the offensive playbook. Like, that's what I expect after this offseason, after the preseason. They have to come out shooting. I don't know what game one is going to be for the Bears, but I assume with the addition of DJ Moore, whatever Ryan Poles does for the rest of the offseason, they may get a primetime game early this year. You know what I mean? Like, that would be amazing. Maybe the Packers. I don't know. Depends on whether Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay or not. But regardless, I'm with Jose on this. I want playoffs, and I don't think 4 wins is going to be enough for me next 100%. Year.
All right, guys, I got to go close this school down. But man, amazing day. We're definitely excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm still excited for the draft to see exactly what we continue to do, who we pick up at 9, if we stay there or if we trade back, regardless of the fact this season, this up and coming Bears season is going to be a great one, exciting one for all of us. So bear down, boys.
Bear down. See you, bro.
Bear down. All right, everybody.
Oh, yeah, Jose. Have fun, bro. I mean, it's good that you guys have that lofty expectations, right? Even CP says, I need a 10-win season at the minimum. At the minimum, that's what he's saying, right? At the minimum.
Yeah.
But also put it like this, guys, and thank you everybody on the comments, from Paulina to CP to Ginger over here. Who else is on this? Who else was on the comments section? I think that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that was it. Those 3.
Thank you guys for commenting. Make sure you guys keep commenting here on Big League Chicago's. We're doing an emergency podcast. If you guys haven't found out and you guys don't have a cell phone or a smartphone or anywhere near internet, the Bears traded the number 1 pick this year to the Carolina Panthers for their number 9th and a couple more picks in the second round, next year's first as well for the Carolina Panthers. And we got DJ Moore. We got a legitimate quarterback. Now, good. I'm not gonna be playoffs expectation with you guys right there. No, me personally, what's a successful season is a 7-win season, but Justin Fields flirts with 3,000 passing yards. Justin Fields flirts with almost close to 20 to 25 touchdowns. His interceptions get down a little bit more. And to me, I think that's more of a successful and more realistically season for the Chicago Bears than trying to hit playoffs. And I get it, right? Aaron Rodgers leads the Green Bay Packers. The division is wide open in the NFC North. You know, Justin Fields is the most athletic quarterback in that division. Jordan Love we don't know what he's all about. We know what we see in Kirk Cousins and Minnesota Vikings, who might take a few steps back this year. We know what the Lions are going to be. The Lions are probably going to be the most competitive team in the NFC North this year, right? But to me, I'm not looking at the wins and losses. I'm looking at the progression of Justin Fields, and if he can take that next step into being a quarterback, a passing quarterback, along with a running quarterback as well.
Definitely
giving that dual threat quarterback that, you know, whether in air you're going to be in trouble, whether on the ground you're going to be in trouble. And if that does accumulate more to the 10 wins that CP says, or the playoff appearance with the 9 wins like you guys said, then guess what? That's even better. That's perfect. But if I would put this in a realistic aspect, to me, let Justin Fields throw for close or flirting with 3,000 yards. Let Justin Fields flirt with 20-25 passing touchdowns. Let Justin Fields throw down his interceptions a little bit with the 6-7 game win season. But guess what? We know now that we have a quarterback in our hands that could be our guy for the next 10, 12, 15 plus years. And I think that's a little bit more realistically than shooting for playoffs. And I get it. We're fans. We want our Bears to be in the playoffs. We want all our teams to be in the playoffs. But a team let's be completely honest, they got the number one pick for a reason, right? They only won 3 games this past season for a reason. They weren't that good enough. And obviously a little help along the way with Lovie Smith. Thank you, Lovie Smith. I appreciate you. We're going to build you that statue in Arlington Heights, Lovie. Even though you didn't build it there, in our hearts, you built it for us, Lovie. So thank you very much. Make sure you guys put that clip on our social media page. Thank you, Lovie Smith, on that part, right? But again, we should also be a little bit more realistic, knowing that we were the worst team in the NFL last year for a reason, and our quarterback, we know what he is: a great athlete and an amazing athlete, a guy that could run and could occasionally throw that ball. But now that he has weapons around him and decent amount of weapons around him, I rather have, and this is just me speaking from the heart, right? And this is just me being honest. I'd rather have that 6-7 game winning season and Justin flirting with these outrageous ass numbers that we see quarterbacks do in a season than probably having a 2,300 rushing passing yard game with, flirting with 1,000 rushing yards. The Bears are like 9 and something. Like, that would be great. But I'd rather see Justin Fields improve as a passer in the NFL. And the expectations will be higher after that, because we know that he can elevate his game year after year after year like he's doing. Yeah. And trust me when I tell you, we'll be set for life or for the next 10, 15 years, barring injury, with Justin Fields at the helm at the quarterback.
And I don't think that's anything that should be out of reach for any of these guys or the team in general, right? Like I think these are kind of, I don't want to say easy things to do, but just like, oh, this is the next step, so let's do that, right? The NFC North is, again, regardless of what Aaron Rodgers does, and even if Aaron Rodgers stays, like, it still seems to be somewhat wide open, because the Vikings, I cannot see them do the exact same thing they did last year. I just can't see them do that. The Packers, they've got Christian Watson, who emerged as a good rookie receiver. They somehow always have a running back, kind of like the Bears do. They've got that game. The Detroit Lions are on the up and up. I can still kind of see the Bears being in the mix for it. I feel like all 4 teams can be in the mix, and it's not necessarily that we're all like at some elite level. It's just that they're not all great teams. I mean, we saw the Minnesota Vikings get kicked out in the wild card round, right? So I
y'all knew that was going to happen, Rick. Come on.
Yeah, like come on, right? And I agree with all the points you said. What I think though is, when that all happens, when everything you just said happens, Fields is flirting with 3,000, 3,500 yards, 20 plus touchdowns, 8 or hopefully less interceptions, and you have DJ Moore and Mooney, hopefully Claypool, flirting with 1,000-yard seasons. I think that is just going to happen naturally, where they win 10 games. Because I feel like you can't really do, and again, it's all based on opponents and whatever's happening there. But with all that stuff happening in one season, it has to amount to those games being won, right? Like, I don't think we'll get screwed as bad as we did last year. At least I hope so. 2
years ago with the Steelers and Ravens games and stuff.
Exactly, and that too, man. Like I hope that doesn't happen anymore. But I just think if all those things do happen next season, it will just naturally come about that they are winning 10 games, winning 11 games, getting into the wild card, maybe winning a division, something like that. So I just think playoffs right now, going from worst to playoffs, isn't too out there as far as like an expectation, but I can see where you're coming from in terms of like, let's just get a game plan and get our offense 100% set before we look at the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. And CP in the comments, who's going strong on here too, said he agrees with me. He wants to see him take the next step in Justin Fields as a quarterback with 3,500 passing yards, 1,000 rushing yards, no more 80-yard passing games.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to see that either, right?
No.
He goes on and saying it's just the NFC is so wide open. That's why I'm asking for a lot of the North is begging to be taken over, which is true.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Take North and never giving it back.
Yeah,
and it's starting to field and it's starting to build that way, especially like you said, depending on what Aaron Rodgers does. If he does decide to go or not, even if he does stay, right? How good of an Aaron Rodgers we're still going to get with this team that you've seen last year was struggling a lot to even be in playoff contention in a division, even when they have the Minnesota Vikings who ran away with it, right?
Yep.
You will still say that you would give the area, and you will still say that you'll give the Green Bay Packers an opportunity and a shot to win the division simply because of that man alone in Aaron Rodgers, given the talent that's in Minnesota, given the talent that's in Detroit as well, and the up-and-coming Chicago Bears. You're still going to sit down and say, hey, Aaron Rodgers, this is still your division because you're Aaron freaking Rodgers.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter what you have. I wasn't going to ignore you, Abdullah. I was going next. I was going, man. He said, take Josh Gordon from the XFL. I wasn't ignoring you, bro. I miss you.
Chill with Josh Gordon.
I hope you're doing well, Abdullah. I miss you, bro. Hope everything is well with you and your family, man. Hopefully we get to see each other soon along the way through the path. If you're still out there where you're in Harvey, bro, let's link up. Let's hang out. I'm not going to ignore you. I promise you. I wasn't gonna ignore you. I was just getting to my thought, man. That's all. But yeah, let's go get Josh Gordon from the XFL. I mean, he's been looking good, but it's Josh Gordon, bro. The guy played in the NFL for a reason.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
But
yeah.
But it just now. I think now, right now, at this very moment, March. What is it? 6:49. On March 10th, 2023, before the 2023-2024 season that the Chicago Bears roll off, I think now we are probably going to be the most smartest, most intellectual football fans of this upcoming draft in this year of getting us, of what's coming along in this draft, on what's going to happen, what moves are the Bears are going to make, and Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus to help build this team. Now that we have all this ammunition of draft picks for this year and next year. And now is just, I think we're going to get that level of where you and I and Jose said that we are just going to get CP for real, right?
Yeah.
That we're going to get that we're all going to be on the same level. Some people are going to ask for 10 wins and win the division. Some people are just going to be like me and let's just see if Fields can take the next step, where they can take the 6-7 losses or 6 or 7 wins. And Justin Fields takes the next step in being a quarterback for the future. It's now the Chicago Bears are in a perfect position to, no matter what they do, they have everything in their hands to get it right so bad. Outside of injuries, outside of any catastrophe for the team, right now Ryan Poles can't do no wrong unless if he swings and misses and all the 10 draft picks that he has for this season.
Yeah.
And now the pressure is really on Ryan Poles. We could be excited about the Chicago Bears and the football team, but now it's up to Ryan Poles to live up to his expectation, to live up to his title, to live up to what he did this and tearing down the studs and building up new drywall and building up the new foundation for the Chicago Bears. Like, now it's up to Ryan Poles to actually make this team a successful for not just this year, but for years to come and heading into Arlington Heights in the near future.
So one question I did want to ask you is, the combine ended just last week, whatever it was, or earlier this week.
I had eyes on the field on the combine for the past week.
Yeah. It was honestly like, this is one of the first times that I really tuned into the combine, right? Like, doing the Only Football podcast, doing this.
I actually had eyes and feet and hands at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Really?
Game. My brother was out there. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
No scouting.
Nice.
And he said he could probably run as fast as some of these wide receivers, but I don't know. He likes to talk a lot of smack. I love him.
The coach would have put me in. We would have won state. So, with that being said, do you think Ryan Poles And again, this is kind of coming down from the excitement of what just happened. But do you think he could have waited for the draft? The draft's like 40 plus days away. Does this seem to be too soon for a draft? Because for a trade? Because myself, right? Like, I'm thinking about it. The Bears have the number one. You had C.J. Stroud. You had not Bryce Young yet. He's going to do his own pro day. But you had Anthony Richardson look good. Will Levis look decent. You had people vying for this spot. So in that sense, right, like the Texans know, well, we have to get the number one pick to secure C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, whoever we want at quarterback. The Bears could have gotten picks there. They would have moved to number two. Then maybe a Carolina or maybe another team would have come in, traded for the number two pick. Like, we could have collected a lot of picks. The only downside is, do you get a DJ Moore? Do you get a guy who can make an immediate impact on the team next year? Because I would like to think that was a possibility during draft day, or at least the day before draft day. But I'm just excited about this because we have a number one. We have a first round pick, a number 9. Yeah, it kind of brings us down from the top 5, which wasn't great. And the whole Will Anderson thing, like, I was so super hyped about him. But we're still a top 10 pick. We have a first round next year, which is hopefully going to be a top 10 pick as well. We can still get a stud in the draft. And we added a number 1 wide receiver. Like, is it too early? What is your opinion on it?
Well, first things first, let's go right here with a round of applause for Ryan Poles.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him that one. A round of applause. Yes, he did his work. He's doing what he's doing, man. And he says no. He's being aggressive, 2 steps ahead of everybody else. He was saying it vocally. To shows and podcasts and everything. Like, hey, I'm up for business. Hey, I'm getting phone calls and I'm getting this and that along with this. Like, if you're serious, y'all, come at me, bro. Like, I'm open for business. This brand new grand opening for the Chicago Bears and what you want to get. Like, he said it. He's been saying it, and he's been aggressive. And now, like, people wanted to call his bluff. And now what Ryan Poles did was like, okay, nobody wanted to believe me. This is what I got.
Bam.
And everybody's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, now the Colts are going to be all over the place. The Texans not really. I think the Texans are okay no matter where they're going to be, as long as it wasn't the Indianapolis Colts being ahead of them. Yeah. Knowing that it's the Carolina Panthers, I think the Houston Texans kind of sit pretty, and they still may take Bryce Young, because apparently now C.J. Stroud is the guy that the Carolina Panthers are going for. That's what I'm getting all the updates as my phone is ringing off right here. So the Houston Texans, not really. It's the Raiders, it's the Colts, it's the teams that they're looking for quarterbacks and lost quarterbacks, and the Raiders, they're just like, damn, now what are we going to do? Because now we can't get our guy. Now maybe our guy might fall to us because Seattle's drafting up there too as well. They just signed Geno Smith, so they may or may not get a quarterback at that position. I highly doubt it. The Arizona Cardinals are in that position too as well, who is not looking for a quarterback, but hell, they're in a perfect position. Was like, well, our quarterback is going number 1. The quarterback is definitely going number 2. I'm sitting pretty here in number 3. Where I could get Will Anderson, or hell, I might even go crazy. I have a shit show here in Arizona. Hell, I might get Jalen Carter and bring this all over the place. You know what I mean? Again, it's the other teams that didn't pull the trigger in the Colts and the Raiders to be like, damn, we should have gotten it. And you're right. Maybe the Colts. Maybe Ryan Poles played his cards perfectly. He made his call. He said, I have pocket aces or something like that. I don't know how to play poker, but I have pocket aces here. I'm telling you guys, I have pocket aces.
Yeah.
You guys have all these other cards too as well. Or no, maybe not pocket aces. Let me say, I got 2 7s. I got 2 7s here, guys. I got double 7s here. This is what my hand is. This is what the flop is. You guys have a chance to beat me because I have 2 7s. And nobody called his bluff. Right? They thought he was bluff, and he's like, nope. See, I just beat you with my hand.
Bam. That's right.
And that's what it was. And CP goes, I think he also made this trade because of the lack of depth at the receiver in this draft. 100%. 100% that's true as well. You know, and I kind of figured that Indianapolis, they weren't going to give up Michael Pittman Jr. I know the Raiders may or may not probably given up, you know, Devontae Adams. They probably would have said Henry Renfrow maybe.
Yeah.
But to get that number 1 wide receiver from the Carolina Panthers, I think that just solidified the trade 100%. Right. Yeah, he said Seattle isn't against taking a quarterback. He said he'd keep that in mind. So maybe that's another thing. But Ryan Pace. Oh my God.
Hey, chill. We're past that. We're past
that. No, but Ryan Poles, I think he played this card perfectly. I don't think it was too early. I think if he waited a little bit too long, I think Carolina Panthers would probably back out of this trade. I think the fact that they threw in DJ Moore in this trade package, I think it was a no-brainer for Ryan Post to say, "Hell yeah, let's do this." He said, "Give me this year's, next year's first round draft pick, and the year after their first round draft pick." Mm-hmm. But he got DJ Moore. He was okay getting a second round draft pick for 2025. I think he made a solid business move, and he was a man of his word.
And that's what I saw. One of the reports was saying that the Panthers did not want to give up DJ Moore, and Brian Poles was like, I want DJ Moore, and I'm not budging. The Carolina Panthers budged and gave him DJ Moore. So that may be it, right? And CP had mentioned a lack of depth of wide receiver in the draft, not only in the draft, but in free agency, right? Like, we were just talking about Adam Thielen getting released by the Vikings. You know what I mean? Like, and even I said, like, I wouldn't mind Adam Thielen in the Bears uniform for about a year or so. And that kind of goes to show you about the lack of depth of wide receiver in this year's free agency class. But it goes to the draft as well. Like, you see a lot of linemen, you see a lot of defensive guys, you see a lot of quarterbacks in these first 10, 15 picks that are, predicted to go. So you don't really see wide receivers. Maybe you see one or two. One of them being Jackson Smith and Jigba, that is from Ohio State. So. Yeah, man, I initially, when I saw this, obviously I was excited about DJ Moore. I was excited about the first-round draft pick. I was excited about everything. But, as time goes by, that excitement goes down, I just kind of thought, like, man, I wonder if we could have turned this into more second-round picks. But, again, like, the big thing in my head right now is could we have gotten a guy like DJ Moore? And probably not. But, again, it depends on who was offering what. The Panthers barely gave up DJ Moore. They were like, all right, last heave. We want the number one pick. We're going after a quarterback. Like, we'll give you DJ Moore. Fuck it. Right. But again, who knows what would have happened, how many more second-round picks we would have gotten, how many more picks next year we would have gotten. But also, on the flip side of that is, like, we all know it. The NFL draft is just a crapshoot. We don't know if Will Anderson's going to be good. We don't know if C.J. Stroud is going to be good. We don't know if any of the guys we're going to pick are going to be any good. So the fact that you can get a guy who has been proven in the NFL for 5 years to be your wide receiver number one is perfect. Because, again, he's still young. He's 25 years old. He's under team control, relatively cheap when you look at someone like Christian Kirk's contract. 4 years, 72 million. Like, we've got DJ Moore for 3 years, 3 entire seasons for less than that, way less than that, like low $50 million. So when you look at that, when you look at the potential, when you look at the age, it just makes sense. And I think that's what Jose was referring to earlier when we had him on. That the age plus the money plus the years, all that stuff just makes sense, and his ability to do what he's done in this league for his entire career, it just makes it even better. But yeah, that's kind of all I've got on this. Obviously, again, a lot of excitement around the Bears and what they're going to do this year. And like you said, I was immediately, I was looking up DJ Moore highlights. I was looking at more mock drafts. Like you said, we're going to be one of the more intense fan bases for this NFL draft. The preseason, going into the regular season, we're just going to be on it for the 2023 year.
Yeah, we're definitely we're going to be up above Adam Schefter and Mel Kiper and all the other guys who do this mock draft. We're like, no, this guy is this and that. That's going to be the Chicago Bears. That's going to be Chicago. For, the next how long the draft is in
40 something days, like April 16th or 23rd or something like that.
Yeah, and CP goes, Arizona seems to be the main team ahead of us. Focus on their defense. He's upset at me that I said Ryan Pace instead of Ryan Poles. I guarantee Pace would have chased a guy like Adam Thielen and have been satisfied. 100%. I think that definitely sounds
I think so too.
like a Ryan Pace move right there to just keep his head afloat, I guess, in a sinking ship and stuff. So, again, look, the Bears got 10 picks this year. Or this year they have 10 picks. Are they going to use all 10 picks? No. I think that gap between number 9 and the next time they pick number 53 in the draft, it's a lot of players in between. It's a lot in between those two picks. So I do feel like they are probably going to give up maybe their third or maybe something like they're going to have to trade up at some certain point and give up some of that draft capital to come up to get those to get those picks at least somewhere in between each other. I feel like they're gonna have 2 second-round picks, but I think we're gonna have one in the early, and then I think we keep the bottom one that they got from the Carolina Panthers. Deontay, Uncle Day Day, what's up, buddy? Hope you're doing well, man. He said, I only wish they could have traded down twice to be to bet to number 9. No, I 100%. I think that was also the main talking
that would have been good
the last couple of weeks, even during the past week in the combine too. My brother was saying too down in Indy. He's a Bears fan, by the way. Let me put that out there. All these buddies out there are Colts fans, right? But everybody's been saying like, if the Colts, what will the Colts do to give up to get the first round pick? I think now, maybe just now they would be like, okay. Now they're probably looking into Will Levis or Mitch Robinson, or even if Bryce Young falls down,
or Anthony Richardson even.
Right. They probably even failed to go up there. I don't know. Maybe they might keep in. They'll probably wait until the middle round to probably get Sensen Bennett or something like that. To me, Sensen Bennett sounds like an Indianapolis Colt quarterback. I don't know why.
It does.
It just screams Indianapolis Colt.
Oh shit!
I just don't know why I see it, but they won't go first round on him. They won't.
No, they won't.
And I get it. I get it. I'm with Deontay too. I wish that there was an opportunity that we would have traded with the Colts or the Raiders to be somewhere in the top 5 and then do it again with the Panthers. But I think we wouldn't have gotten DJ Moore if this would have been tough, or we would have waited to draft time or waited a couple weeks later to trade with one of the other teams. I think DJ Moore wouldn't have been a Chicago Bear if that trade would have happened, because now the Bears would have gotten some picks. With the first pick or with the first trade, and now maybe the picks wouldn't be as glorified as they were today. And again, that's my only issue. Like I'm saying it again, that from the pick from number 9 to 53, that's still a good gap. Yeah, from the next time.
Absolutely, it absolutely is.
Yeah, and I agree. 2 birds with one stone with this trade. You get your number 1 wide receiver. I'm not. You trade down to number 9, but that's really nothing, because obviously it was about to happen. Trade for trade, right? You get next year's first round pick, and the year after that, you get their second round pick. You get another. Like I said, you literally got 3 first round picks with this trade. This year's, next year's, and obviously DJ Moore, who was a first round draft pick.
Yep. proven guy. So
a proven guy who's been in the NFL. You guys say he's been there for 5 years? Like, damn, he's been there for that long.
And he had 3 1,000-yard seasons up until last year. Would have made it 4 if he would have,
Baker as
had
his quarterback.
Yeah, and that was with like 3 or 4 different guys at quarterback. So this guy can do it with or without a quarterback. Really, when you kind of think about it, this guy's that good. But all this to say, man, us as Bears fans, we're excited for this upcoming season. We're excited for the draft. Bears fans are going to be like on the draft. They're going to be watching the draft. I'm going to be watching the draft. I know that for a fucking fact. So it's going to be exciting. And like CP said, DJ Moore, only 25 years old.
He's about to be 26 in a couple months.
And we still have him for 3 seasons under team control. So
that's literally, honestly, that's the perfect trade. I mean, the only best trade that we could probably get out of it, if it would have happened, if somehow, some way the Colts gave up Michael Pittman Jr. That was probably it.
I would. Right? I think I'd like DJ. I think I'd like DJ more than Pittman Jr.
Right, and now we're just picking and choosing and pulling hairs. And
right.
Saying like, what would be the best trade? Yes, he's still 26, but Michael Pittman Jr. is much younger and a lot more popping. Blah blah blah.
It's like, man, I'd like Justin Jefferson. Throw Jefferson in there.
Exactly.
Right?
Again, 25, about to be 26 in a couple months. You have cost control him for the next 3 years because he just signed a contract with the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
And what looks to be team friendly. You don't have to overpay in that position. He's NCP says he's like I like
DJ more.
I like DJ more. No pun.
Yeah.
I get it. I'll give you that. I'll give you that one.
Clap it up.
That was a good one. But it just we're just set up in a perfect position now, the Chicago Bears, to build this team the right way for years to come. That's only if Fields could take the next step. And now this year is going to be a critical year.
That's what we need.
For Justin Fields, because next year he's entering his 4th year, and they may or may not have to pick up that 5th-year option for him. And maybe, just maybe, if he doesn't perform this year or barring injury.
No, wait. Fields is going into his 3rd year.
This year's his 3rd year coming up, right?
Yeah, coming up 3rd year.
Next year's his 4th. And then they have next year to decide whether or not to pick up that 5th-year option or to get that man a new contract or to let him walk away. The Bears have 2 first-round picks next year.
Yeah, they do.
The class next year is way much better than this year's quarterback draft. So
lots of things to think about in the future, and I love that we have the options. I love it.
A lot of things can happen for the Chicago Bears, for real. Fields says 100%. He says Fields better step. Otherwise, our argument from the other night would just be justified, and that's 100% true. If you guys missed the JCA Sports podcast on Wednesday, and we went at it with Jose, saying Jose says Justin Fields is already that man. He's that guy. He is the best quarterback in the NFC North. While CP and I say he's easily the second best quarterback behind Jared Goff, Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins, and Jordan Love by default is the 4th best quarterback if Aaron Rodgers does decide to leave Green Bay.
He's had one, and he's had 1 year as a starter, so I think he just gets better from here. And again, adding these weapons, adding to the draft is just going to make him better. And again, we'll see how it goes, but I am excited for this season coming up. I'm excited for the draft. Marvin Harrison Jr. We'll see what. We'll see what happens there.
And I hope that pick is a Panthers pick instead of a Bears. Marvin Harrison
Facts.
Jr. Because that would just imagine him and DJ Moore and and I know we're about to wrap this up. We've been over this for over an hour, and this is an emergency podcast. And we did say it right before BLC was going to go on a little hiatus. But if there was an emergency podcast to be held,
it was this. It was this.
This was going to be it, right? But with the addition of DJ Moore, and this goes out to everybody on the chat too as well. What trade / pick, or what looks better, the trade for Claypool, or the draft pick of Velus Jones Jr.?
What looks better?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I almost want to say like the Claypool trade.
Yeah.
Because he's been in the league already. He's proven that he can do things. He hasn't breached 1,000 yards yet, but he's gotten close. And the 7 or so games that he was with the Bears last year only proved that he needed more time with the playbook, needed more time with Fields. It's not necessarily a fleece trade, if you will, like, when everybody was saying that.
Right.
But I just hand up. This needs to be a time thing, right? Like, yes, we were all mad. I was mad at Claypool for not being even relevant in the Bears offense last year. But again, you kind of look at that in hindsight now with 2020 vision, and you're like, it needed time. It needed time to settle. Velus Jones Jr. could be very good. He's only had 1 season. He's obviously got trouble with the ball, like handling the ball, really. But another offseason, more time in the league is going to hopefully get him up there. I would say right now that the Claypool trade looks better than picking up Velus Jones Jr. in the draft.
That's good. I think it justifies more the Velus Jones trade than anything, simply because we were expecting Velus Jones to be this top off end wide receiver to run
Speedster.
His speed and do all that, right? Yeah. And obviously the Claypool trade was just, again, I agree with CP on this point. The Claypool trade was the setup for something bigger, and I 100% agree with that one, right? But for Velus Jones, what's his name? Pickens from the Steelers.
Yeah, George
He
Pickens
was available when the Bears picked up Velus Jones Jr. Now, just imagine if it was flipped, right?
That'd be insane.
Exactly. That would have been insane.
That would be insane.
That's why to me this pickup of DJ Moore, it justifies a little bit more of the Velus Jones pick than the
it makes
trade
up for it.
Chase Claypool. It does makes up for it. It makes
Definitely
up
makes up for it.
So and besides, it was a 3rd round pick, right? I'm not sure if it was the first pick that they got in the 3rd round, or I think they only had one. I don't remember, but it was a 3rd round pick for the Chicago Bears, and an early one too.
Yeah.
But like I said, Pickens was up there for the Bears to grab him. Would have been a different story if but again, it makes up for it a little bit more to me on my end, the Velus Jones pick, than it does a trade for Claypool, because I agree. It was only set up for something bigger for the Chicago Cup coming. Now you see it.
And that's what exactly. It's coming to fruition now, and that's exactly what we want. We just, man, I'm excited for the rest of this offseason, man. So we'll see what else Poles has up his sleeve. I think right now he can do no wrong. But that's after this. Yeah, he can. He can.
I mean, he can. Like, look,
he absolutely can.
On every draft pick.
No,
right?
You're not. Yeah.
I think now what gets magnified probably like 10,000 times more before the offseason started is now free agency and what you're going to do with that money and what you're going to use that money for. And are you going to use all that money? Because remember, you don't have to use all that salary cap. You could push it on over to next year. You just have to hit a certain quota of the salary cap that you have to waste. So now doing all this, now that you're probably set for the wide receiver, what looks like to be right now on paper for the next couple of years, for the next 3 seasons for sure. Now where you're going to use that free agency cap money, are you going to go all in now? Are you going to spend it all? And like how we say us Mexicans say, are you going to spend it all in un putazo? Or are you going to, be very careful with it and just use that money on the back end to accolade for next year and to get what was supposed to be a bigger, better draft class, free agency class next year than this year? Again, there's a lot that Ryan Poles can do. You're right. He can't do no wrong, but he has to get everything right. And it starts off with free agency, because now free agency is just magnified by 10 times.
And we've got a big checkbook. The Bears have a big checkbook to make 100%. Some splashes. So let's hope they can do so. I'm gonna put my trust in Poles. We've done it before. We're gonna do it again. That's all we can do as fans. So let's hope it happens. But
I'm riding the Poles. I'm
riding the Poles. I'm grinding that Poles right now. Eric, thanks for joining me. Thank you guys, everyone in the comments. Jinja, CP, Paulina, who else was on here? Deontay. Yep, all the guys, everyone that was here. Thank you guys for tuning in for this emergency BLC podcast. We will be back soon. Still on a little hiatus, but we will be back soon. We had to be back for this. Like Eric said, we had to be back for this news. So, Eric, thank you for joining me. Jose, thanks for joining us earlier. And we will see you guys next time.
Bear the fuck down. Bear the fuck down.
All right, everybody. See ya.